Hey, Reddit. Throwaway account, obviously. I 34 meters feel like my entire life just hit a wall at 100 miles per hour. I'm still processing everything, but I need to get this off my chest. Maybe writing it down will help me think straight. Maybe someone else out there has gone through the same thing. Maybe I'm just losing my mind. For context, I've been married to my wife, Natalie. 32F for 6 years. No kids we'd even trying, but nothing stuck. And to be honest, the pressure kind of faded away. She works in marketing, fully remote, and I'm a manager at a logistics firm. We live in a mid-sized city, fairly comfortable life, both decent incomes. Stable marriage, or so I thought. Over the last year, Natalie started doing this thing, where she'd go on errand days. You know, like once or twice a week. She'd say she needed to get out, breathe. Hit the gym, maybe shop. Sometimes meet up with friends. I was cool with it. We all need our space. I didn't question it. I work long hours anyway. And I respected her independence. But here is where it gets weird. She never wanted to drive ever. We have 2 cars. Hers is in perfect condition. But she claimed traffic gave her anxiety and that parking stressed her out. So she started calling Ubers for everything. She even got friendly with her regular driver, a guy named Leo. At first, it was kind of a joke between us. Like, oh, Natalie and her Uber boyfriend. I even teased her about it once. She laughed it off in this weird way, like forced. Now I look back and it gives me chills. She would mention him in passing. Leo picked me up again today. He is always so polite. Leo says there is this great cafe on 5th. We should try it. Leo got me home so fast today. You wouldn't he believe it. I didn't he think much of it. Maybe I should have. Fast forward to 2 months ago. She started dressing differently for these errands. A little more makeup. Nicer tops. One time she walked past me in heels and I literally said, "Going to Target or a fashion show?" She snapped Jesus. I can't even look nice without getting interrogated. I remember blinking totally confused. It was a joke. She just huffed and walked out the door. That was the first real red flag. But even then, I didn't want to believe anything was wrong. I was stupidly trusting. She always had a sharp mouth and was overly defensive, but I figured that was just her personality. Or maybe stress. I chalked it all up to the usual ups and downs of marriage. God, how blind can someone be? I didn't know it then, but every time she climbed into that black Prius, she wasn't just running errands. She was running to him after that. Weird heels comment things started to feel off. She became more distant. Her phone was always on silent. Always face down, and she never left it unattended. Natalie used to be careless with it. I could be grabbed at any time now. She did even take it into the bathroom during a 5-minute shower one night. I asked if she wanted to do a date night. You know, try to reconnect. She looked up from her laptop and said, "Ooh, I'm exhausted, babe. Can we just chill tonight?" That was fine, I mean, we all have days like that. So I let it go, but an hour later, she was fully dressed and spritzing perfume. "Where are you going?" asked. Oh, I forgot. I promised Jenna I'd meet her for drinks. I want to be long. I looked at her. You just said you were exhausted. She snapped, God. Do you need to control everything? I do. It's just one night. I stood there stunned. She called her Uber and left. I remember watching her from the window. Leo's car pulled up. Same black Prius. Same guy. I only ever saw him once through the tinted glass. Older than me. Balding. Stocky. Not someone I'd ever think she'd be into. But I didn't know my wife anymore. I texted Jenna the next day. We weren't close, but we followed each other on Instagram. I just said, "Hey, random question. Did you and Natalie hang out last night?" She replied, "No. Haven't seen her in weeks." Why I stared at the screen. My stomach sinking got after Jenna's message. I knew something was off. I wasn't tea crazy. She lied about where she was going. But still, I wasn't ready to explode the whole thing yet. Instead, I started observing. I installed a small magnetic GPS tracker under her car. Not illegal in my state, since it's my car. She didn't use it often, but when she did, I wanted to know meanwhile. I started keeping an eye on her Uber receipts. We share a credit card. She always claimed she was using Uber Cash or discounts, but I found charges almost daily, all to the same license plate. Leo S. She was using Uber like a damn private chauffeur. But it wasn't about transportation. It was about him. The GPS data even worse. She kept getting dropped off at the same apartment complex, not near any shopping center or gym. Just a plain-looking building in a quiet residential area on the west side. I asked her casually one night, "Hey, have you been hanging out on the west side a lot?" She blinked. "Hey, no, why?" "Just curious. Thought I saw something on the bank statement." She didn't even hesitate. "Oh, must be even the Amazon hub over there." I had a return. Fluent liar. No stutter. No flinch. That night, I stared at her while she slept. Just stared. She looked so peaceful, and I hated that. I didn't know who I was married to anymore, but I still needed proof. Real proof. So I made a plan. The next Thursday, she told me she had a hair appointment downtown. Around 2 p.m., I smiled. "Cool. Want me to drive you?" She laughed, eyes narrowed. "No, Leo is already scheduled." "He is punctual." Right, I pretended to go to work, but turned around after 10 minutes and parked a few blocks from the house. I waited. Around 1:50, Leo's black Prius pulled up. I watched Natalie come out of the house in a tight black dress and boots. Hair appointment, my ass. She got in the front seat. The front seat. They didn't drive toward downtown. I followed from a distance. They didn't even glance in the mirror. It was like they were in their own world talking, laughing. Her hand was on the center console for most of the ride. At one red light, she leaned over and kissed his cheek. My heart sank, but I kept following. They pulled into that same apartment complex. She didn't hesitate. They got out together. She grabbed his hand and they walked inside. I waited 10 minutes. 20 an hour. At the 2-hour mark, I stepped out and took a photo of Leo's car in the lot. Then another of the building number. It was real now. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just felt cold. Hollow. Like something in me had died without making a sound. The next Thursday, she told me she had a hair appointment downtown around 2 p.m. I smiled. Cool. Want me to drive you? She laughed, eyes narrowed. No, Leo is already scheduled. He is punctual. Right, I pretended to go to work, but turned around after 10 minutes and parked a few blocks from the house. I waited. Around 1:50, Leo's black Prius pulled up. I watched Natalie come out of the house in a tight black dress and boots. Hair appointment my ass. She got in the front seat. The front seat. They didn't drive toward downtown. I followed from a distance. They didn't even glance in the mirror. It was like they were in their own world talking, laughing. Her hand was on the center console for most of the ride. At one red light, she leaned over and kissed his cheek. My heart sank, but I kept following. They pulled into that same apartment complex. She didn't hesitate. They got out together. She grabbed his hand and they walked inside. I waited 10 minutes. 20. An hour at the 2-hour mark. I stepped out and took a photo of Leo's car in the lot. Then another of the building number. It was real now. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just felt cold, hollow, like something in me had died without making a sound. That night I acted normal. She came home around 6:30 p.m., cheeks flushed, hair tousled. She smelled like aftershave and peppermint gum. I was cooking dinner. Steak, her favorite. She walked and smiled, kissed my cheek like nothing happened. Smells good. I handed her a glass of wine. How was the hair appointment? She froze just for a second and smiled wider. Great. She did a conditioning treatment too. My scalp feels amazing. Lear. I sipped my drink. You know I was in the area. Didn't he see your car near the salon? A pause. Oh. She moved locations last minute. I totally forgot to text you. It was chaos. She was spinning it in real time. I nodded slowly. You should be careful, Nat. Some apartment complexes over there have sketchy reputations. She blinked. What? Never mind. That night, she initiated sex aggressively. Like she was trying to prove something. I went along with it, but I felt sick. Like I was being used by a stranger in my own home. Afterward, while she slept, I uploaded the photos from earlier that day into a locked folder. Then I started researching divorce attorneys. Something inside me had shifted. I wasn't trying to save anything anymore. I was preparing for war. A few days after the hair appointment, Natalie started acting off. Different from usual. Suddenly, she began caring about us. She made breakfast, played my favorite movies. Said she wanted us to go away for the weekend, just us like the old days. She even brought me coffee in the shower. She had never done that before. I knew then she felt something. She sensed I was pulling away. And sure enough, on the third day, she was sitting at the kitchen table, scrolling through her phone, and casually said, "You've been kind of quiet lately." "Everything okay?" I looked at her. "Yeah, just work." "Tired?" She nodded, then added, "You know, I love you, right? Even when I'm being a bitch." Even when you're getting railed by someone else in some random apartment. I said nothing. Inside, I was boiling. On the outside, cold as ice. I waited. I wanted her to trip herself up. That night, I dug out her old iPad from the drawer. One she hadn't used in months. Turns out, she'd never unlinked her iCloud. Her messages were still syncing. And what I found wasn't he just a fling dot. The messages were graphic. Not just "see you later" or "thanks for the ride." They said, "You made me come without even taking off my clothes. I miss feeling you inside me." He suspect a thing. "Even when I come home smelling like you. You're the only one who makes me feel alive." Every word stabbed me. There were tons of messages. She was texting him daily from the bathroom, from the living room, even when I was right there in the house. She called him my ride like it was their personal nickname. She told him I was boring, bland, convenient, that being with me was like living with a brother, that I wouldn't notice if I disappeared for a week. He'd probably be glad I saved the chat. Took screenshots. Dozens. Including photos of her half naked in his car. One showed her in the back seat of his Uber. Skirt hiked up her face, smug and satisfied. Right after she messaged, "You made me scream today. Hope no one called the cops. LOL. I was shaking. Sitting in the bathroom, staring at the screen. Unable to believe this was my wife. The woman I married. The woman I defended. Loved. Sacrificed children for because she wasn't ready. I realized I couldn't install any longer. The next morning I called in sick to work and went straight to a law office. The attorney had a poker face, but even he looked stunned when I showed him the screenshots. He said we had more than enough grounds for divorce and possibly even for emotional damages, especially since she was using our joint account to fund her rides to her affair. And then I came up with a plan. A very simple way to show her the game was over. Friday afternoon, she told me she was running errands again. Same routine. Same fake tone. I said nothing. Just kissed her cheek and told her to be safe. She walked out the door smiling like nothing was wrong. 10 minutes later, Leo Esprius pulled up. I followed, but this time I didn't stay behind. I took a shortcut. I knew where they were headed. That same apartment complex on the west side. But they didn't make it inside this time. They parked in the far corner of the lot under a tree. And I parked just across from them unseen. It started slowly. She reached over and kissed him. They talked. He touched her thigh. She climbed over the center console and into the back seat. He followed. They were in there moving. I saw the windows fog slightly. I saw her ride him in his own damn car. The same car that smelled like peppermint gum and stale leather. The one I once joked was her second home. I got out of my car, walked across the lot, and I knocked on the window. She didn't see me at first. She was facing away completely, in a shirt pulled halfway up, skirt around her waist. I knocked again. Harder. This time she turned. And when her eyes met mine, her mouth dropped open. Like a horror movie in slow motion. She shoved Leo off of her and started scrambling for her clothes. Screaming. Screeching, really. What the FCK are you doing here? Leo tried to zip up and slide into the driver's seat, face pale. Hey, man, this is not. I held up my phone. Say cheese. Snap one photo to both of them caught half-dressed. Frozen. Natalie flew out of the car barefoot, dragging her heels in her hand. You're stalking me, Yuri. A psycho. I didn't say a word. This isn't what it looks like. She screamed. I looked at her, so you weren't cheating on me. In the back seat of an Uber. You don't understand. It's your fault. You don't touch me, you're never home. You made me feel invisible. Classic. Straight from the cheater's playbook. Blame the betrayed. Make yourself the victim. Leo got out and tried to intervene. Look, man, didn't he know she was married? She turned on him. Shut up, Leo. Don't say a effing word, I laughed. He knows you better than I do, huh? She was shaking, angry, cornered, her hair a mesh shirt still buttoned wrong. A complete meltdown. What are you going to do now? Divorce me, throw away everything we built because I made one mistake? I smiled. Calm. Peaceful even. No, not. I'm not throwing anything away. You did. Then I turned and walked away. She chased me halfway to my car screaming. Crying, calling me an asshole. Begging me to talk. I didn't stop. I got in the car and drove away. That was the last time I looked at her as my wife. The next 48 hours were chaos. My phone exploded with messages. Natalie called over 60 times. Then came the texts, please just talk to me. I messed up, I know. I messed up. We can fix this, don't throw everything away. I love you. I love you. You ignored me for months. What did you expect? Then came the voicemails. Crying. Screaming. Whispering 1 minute, begging the next. Cursing me out, you cold-hearted bastard. You never even loved me. It was just sex. You think you're perfect, you're not. Fine. File for divorce. See if I care. The emotional manipulation was nonstop. She even showed up at my job, wearing sunglasses and pretending she just wanted to talk. Security walked her out. Then the email came. I told my parents we're separating. They're devastated. My mom thinks you're being cruel. I told her you refused to go to therapy. She was trying to rewrite the story before I could even tell it, painting herself as the broken woman, the abandoned wife, the victim of a cold husband. But I was ready. I had everything documented. Messages, photos, GPS records, receipts, even her confession, half naked in the car. I blocked her number, gave my lawyer everything, and then something unexpected happened. Leo messaged me. His message was short, polite, almost like a business email. Hey, man, I know you probably hate me. I just want to say I didn't know she was married until recently. She told me you were basically separated. I found out the truth after you confronted us. I'm sorry. For real, I didn't. He respond. He messaged again a few hours later. Look, I'm not trying to make excuses. She told me a lot of SHT about you that I believed. I see now she was lying to both of us. I feel like a moron. I didn't mean to hurt you. She asked not who I thought she was. I stared at the screen. I wanted to scream at him, to curse him out. But the truth, he sounded like me months ago, confused. Fooled. Manipulated. And I realized something. Natalie was a parasite. She fed on people as trust, their love. She twisted it until she could get what she wanted. And when it broke, she blamed them for bleeding. I still didn't respond. But I wasn't angry anymore. I was free. 3 weeks of silence. No texts. No calls. No surprise visits. It was almost peaceful. Then out of nowhere, I got an email titled, "Can we talk just once?" Natalie, I'm not trying to fight. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just need to see you one last time. Please, I didn't, he reply. The next day, I got another email with an attachment. It was a photo of us from 3 years ago. We were in Italy laughing on a balcony in Florence. I was holding her waist and she had her head back, eyes closed, smiling like she was exactly where she belonged. You can pretend I'm a monster. You can delete me. But don't pretend none of it was real then. I'm pregnant. I stared at the screen for a full minute. I didn't even blink. I read it again and again. Then I laughed. I knew it wasn't mine. We hadn't had sex in over a month before I caught her. And when we did, I used protection. She knew that this was a tactic. A bomb she hoped would stop everything, delay the divorce, force communication. Reel me back in. I didn't answer. Instead, I sent it to my lawyer. He replied within 30 minutes. Let her try. She is only digging her own grave now. I showed up at the firm the next morning with every document ready. I signed the divorce petition, filed formal statements, blocked every channel of communication, took her name off every account. I was done playing chess with someone who flips the board when they start losing. That afternoon, I got a final voicemail. She sounded small, not angry. Not hysterical, just defeated. I didn't think you'd actually go through with it. I thought if you saw me talk to me, you'd remember. But I guess you already made your choice. I hope you're happy now. I didn't, he reply. Not because I was bitter, but because I was happy. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt peace. No more second-guessing. No more paranoia. No more wondering if I was enough. It wasn't about me. It never was. That the court hearing was scheduled for 9 a.m., it was just paperwork mostly. No kids. No property battles on paper. This divorce should be even clean. But of course, it wasn't. I showed up in a suit. Calm, confident. My lawyer was already inside. Natalie arrived 5 minutes late, wearing a beige dress like she was attending a funeral. Her makeup was overdone. Her eyes red. I didn't even look at her. We were called in. The judge began asking standard questions. Are both parties in agreement? Are there any objections? And then, right when it was about to be finalized, Natalie stood up and said, I need to say something before this goes through. My lawyer danced. I could feel the shift in the room. She pulled out a folded piece of paper. I have a medical confirmation. I'm pregnant. There it was, the final card. The judge raised his brow. Is paternity in question? My lawyer stood before I could. Yes, Your Honor. We request a DNA test. The petitioner denies paternity. There has been no marital intimacy during the time frame of conception. The judge nodded slowly. Natalie S. mouth opened and closed. She hadn't expected a counter. Not that fast. Is this your way of stalling the process, Mrs. S? Underscore. She stayed silent. The judge paused. Until test results are in, we can finalize all non-paternity matters. If the child is not the petitioner S, the divorce will proceed without further delay. Natalie slumped back in her seat. I didn't say a word because I knew the truth. 3 weeks later, the results came in. 0% probability the child wasn't mine. It never was. I walked into that courtroom one final time. No drama. No yelling. No games. Natalie didn't even show up. The judge stamped the papers, signed them, looked at me, and said, "You're free to go." I walked out into the sunlight and breathed. It felt like someone had taken a 200-pound weight off my chest. The lies, the gaslighting, the guilt, the second-guessing, all of it gone. Natalie tried to contact me again after that. Letters, emails, a voicemail telling me Leo left her, that she lost everything. But I never answered. I moved to a different part of the city, got a new number, started therapy. I picked up hiking again, reconnected with friends. Hell, I even started dating a little. And slowly the anger faded. Not because I forgave her, but because she no longer had any power over me. I don't hate her, I don't love her. She asked just a story. Now a warning. And this is the last chapter.